The University of Cambridge is an incredibly selective university with a pretty big pool of highly competitive applicants across over 30 undergraduate courses on offer. With so many applicants and such a limited number of spaces, offer rates and acceptance rates at the university are often pretty low, especially for the more popular subjects. We know exactly how many students applied for each course and college at Cambridge thanks to its annual admissions report, which details the number of applications, offers and acceptances received by the university. Cambridge just released their latest report, which covers the 2024 entry cycle, so now we have fresh data to analyse, which is exactly what we're going to do in this video. So why should we care? While it's not a game changer, knowing the admissions data for your course will give you a little bit more of an understanding as to how difficult the admissions process will be, which could ultimately give you a slight advantage. So let's get started. First, we'll look at the overall admissions statistics for the university in 2024. Cambridge received 22,153 applicants, of which 4,760 were given offers, and 3,632 were ultimately admitted. This means that the offer rate was 21.5%, while the acceptance rate was 16.4%. In the past 5 years, Cambridge's success rates were only higher in 2020, which was technically before the pandemic, as the offers are sent out in January. Compared to 2023, the university saw a large jump in applications, roughly 700 in total, and gave out 200 additional offers. While this indicates an increase, 2023 was actually a bit of a strange year, with the number of applicants dropping by more than 1,000 compared to 2022. Overall, it's tough to say if it's getting harder or easier to get into Cambridge, though the rates in the 2020s is definitely lower than what we saw in the previous decade. Cambridge has remained less competitive than the University of Oxford, which received around 900 more applications in 2024, but only admitted 3,245 students. The university had success rates of 16.4% and 14.1%, though we already made a video analysing this data in more detail. So, we've seen the general admission stats, but these aren't the true chances that applicants are realistically going to be facing. As each degree at Cambridge records its admission statistics separately, this is the most important data that you should be focusing on. Success rates between courses can vary wildly, so let's answer some of the top questions applicants have when looking at this data. Let's consider which 5 courses were the most popular in 2024, meaning the courses with the most applications received. Firstly, we have Cambridge's medicine degree, which received 1,791 applications in 2024. Of these, 288 offers were sent, and 271 students were admitted, giving success rates of 16.1% and 15.1%. While below the university average, these success rates aren't too low, especially for a medicine degree. Next up is mathematics, which had 1,840 applicants. This is a bit less than Oxford, where the maths degree was the most popular degree of that year, but success rates were much higher, 29.2% and 14.1%. This offer rate seems like a lot, but that's because mathematics is the only Oxbridge course that requires an admissions test after offers have been given, the STEP. This is a pretty tricky exam, which explains the large drop between offers and acceptances. In third place is computer science, with 1,863 applications. Computer science degrees are typically pretty competitive, and Cambridge's is no exception. With an offer rate of 9% and an acceptance rate of 7.6%, the vast majority of these applicants don't get in. In second place, with a pretty big increase from the last course, is natural sciences, with 2,529 applications. While this is up from last year, the course was actually 2023's most popular degree. It also boasts pretty generous success rates, 25.7% and 22.5%. While this is far from the least competitive course at Cambridge, it's fairly reassuring that one of its most popular courses has a good amount of places to meet the demand. But lastly, we have engineering, which had 2,654 applicants in 2024. While the class size is still large, 321 accepted students, its acceptance rate was far lower than natural sciences at just 12.1%. There are harder courses to get admitted into, but engineering does come close to being one of Cambridge's most competitive degrees. So these are all the very popular degrees, but what about the ones that don't get anywhere near as many applicants? The 5 least popular courses at Cambridge all centre around historical studies, including History of Art, 103 applicants, History and Modern Languages, 94 applicants, Archaeology and 4-year Classics, both with 79 applicants, and Anglo-Saxon, Norse and Celtic, with 65 applicants. To be fair, this course looks pretty popular when compared to Oxford's least popular course, which had just 14 applicants. Moving back to engineering, the course was actually the 5th most competitive course at Cambridge in terms of offer rate, sitting at just 14%. This is pretty low, but we're now going to look at the 5 most competitive degrees at Cambridge based on their acceptance rates. First is land economy, which had 71 acceptances from 614 applications, 11.6%. While this was low, the offer rate was surprisingly decent, 18.1%. As well as this, the acceptance rate was actually up from 2023, where just 11.3% of applicants were admitted. Then we have economics, which had 1,571 applicants and 161 acceptances. With a 10.3 acceptance rate, the course also had the 3rd lowest offer rate of 2024. 12.5%. The course saw over 200 additional applicants compared to 2023, so the success rates both dropped a fairly significant amount. In third, we have Psychological and Behavioural Sciences, or PBS. From just 837 applicants, just 108 offers were given and 72 students accepted, leading to success rates of 12.9% and 8.6%. While the offer rate was up from 2023, which was 11.7%, the acceptance rate fell from 9.1%, which is still pretty low. Computer Science is next, which was also the second most competitive degree at Oxford. As we saw before, the course got a lot of applicants, but only 168 offers were sent out, 9%, and 141 students were admitted, 6.1%. This actually gave the course the lowest offer rate of the year, but one course had a lower acceptance rate, and it's a bit of a strange one. Graduate medicine is an accelerated version of the standard medicine degree for those who have already achieved an undergraduate degree, lasting 4 years instead of 5. While the applicant pool is much smaller for this course, just 489, its capacity is also much smaller, sending out just 45 offers and admitting 30 students. This gives success rates of 9.2% for offers, slightly higher than computer science, and 6.1% for acceptances, more than 1% lower than in computer science. So, applicants for these courses will need to be prepared for a tough battle, but it's more than possible to get your place with the right preparation and dedication. However, there are also plenty of courses at Cambridge that are far easier to get into, so let's look at the 5 least competitive degrees next. First, we have Anglo-Saxon, Norse and Celtic. As we saw, this was the least popular course at the university, but despite this, there were 42 offers given and 27 students were admitted. This gave an offer rate of 64.6% and an acceptance rate of 41.5%. Next, we have both versions of Classics. As we saw before, Cambridge offers both a 3-year and a 4-year variant of the course, with the 4-year version being a bit less popular and a bit more competitive. It had 79 applicants and admitted 34 students, 43%. The standard version had 115 applicants and admitted 53 students, 46.1%. However, its offer rate was lower than the 4-year version at 58.3% versus 68.4%. Music had 130 applicants, of which 82 were given offers, 63.1%, and 64 were admitted, 49.2%. But lastly, we have Modern and Medieval Languages. This was the most popular of these 5 courses, with 218 applicants. Of them, 152 gained offers, 69.7%, and 117 were ultimately admitted, 53.7%. So if you're applying for any of these degrees at Cambridge, you should feel a bit more confident about your chance of success now. But before we finish, let's look at some of the other notable courses that we haven't mentioned yet. Firstly is Law, which just missed out on the top 5 most popular courses. At 1,604 applicants, it sent out 288 offers and accepted 236 students. This gave success rates of 18% and 14.7%. These are both up from 2023 and generally quite good for a subject as popular as law. HSPS, or Human, Social and Political Sciences, had 1,259 applicants, 228 offers and 174 acceptances. Again, this gives pretty decent success rates of 18.1% and 13.8%, both up a good amount from 2023, which were 15.3% and 11.6%. Veterinary medicine is a unique course that isn't taught at Oxford, and it had fairly good success rates of 24.1% and 19.9%. This is down from the last year, but it's still very much above average. Then, lastly, we have English. It's one of the core subjects in schools, but this course isn't too popular, with just 719 applicants. However, 230 of these got their offers and 182 were accepted, leading to very good success rates of 32.9% and 22.6%. So that's everything we're going to cover today, but there's still a lot more to explore in these reports. In addition to the overall figures for each course, we also have detailed application breakdowns for every college at the university. Beyond that, we can analyse the data across a range of factors such as domicile, school type, and gender, each of which we'll dive into in a separate video. If we didn't mention your course here, make sure to check out our full guide to admission statistics for every Cambridge course, linked in the description. While you're there, don't miss the link to download the Big Book of Oxbridge Applications, our free, comprehensive guide for anyone thinking of applying to Oxford and Cambridge. With over 350 pages covering every step of the application process, it's the perfect place to start your journey, and it's completely free to download directly from us. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your application.